Good evening. This is Life Pilot, Captain Pete, and I'm back with Checklist to Success. I've actually had some success in the past few days. Make a long story short, about 9 years ago I started a project. And I was just about ready to finish it. I had everything laid out. And I was in a bad car accident. So I left the stuff exactly as they were. I had all the parts, and I was basically at cruise. I had just to finish it, and here's our cruise checklist. Our cruise checklist. Not much to it, except to finish it, to plan our descent for the arrival and the landing. So, I picked up finally where I left off 9 years ago. A checklist on an airplane is a little bit different than a checklist on the ground. The airplane moves at 600 miles per hour. On the ground, you move as fast as you can. Sometimes things happen to impede you. You ever listen to an immigrant, or let's say someone from another country? They always have a longing to go back to that country because they miss it. Well, if you have an idea and you get distracted, you have the same longing to go back to that idea. And that's human nature, I believe. So I had a person come over. We drilled the holes, we put the plumbing in, and I turned it up yesterday for the first time. It was unbelievable. So it was a 9-year delay. Checklists on the ground really have no time except the discipline you have to see yourself through this project. And at that point, I was in a survival mode. So when we talk about checklists, on the ground it moves at 600 miles per hour. At work, well, it's your career. Your career is moving. If you stop producing, you fall behind, someone else gets promoted. And you very well could be moving or looking for a new company if they decide that you're not necessary. At your house, well, things need to get accomplished, but obviously the number one thing is to be alive, and you have to do anything you can to do that, which I did in this case. And my checklist had to stop with what I was trying to do, and the checklist started over again to recover my health. And I can say very happily that I had to learn anatomy, I had to learn all kinds of exercises, and I probably dedicated between 3 to 6 hours a day rebuilding my body. In another video someday I'll explain what actually happened. But that's in the past. It took 9 years to recover. Finally, I'm back on track. And sometimes those things happen. Health problems, family problems, everything stops to help someone or to help yourself. In a jet, the jet moves at 600 miles per minute. I'm sorry, 600 miles per hour. If you move too fast ahead of the jet, you miss something. And if you're not thinking with the jet flies you. The one thing to remember, you control the checklist, you control the speed of the jet, and you control the destination. And you also control the fact that you need an option. If you can't get someplace, you have to divert someplace safely, get fuel, and then go if you can. And that's life. So whether you're trying to lose weight, exercise, create a business, sometimes the checklists have to stop to take care of the essentials. Like we were speaking the other day, Maslow's theory was that you needed oxygen. Obviously, after 2 or 3 minutes, you can't survive. You need water. After a few days without water, you can't survive. You need food, which is energy. After maybe a couple weeks, you can't survive. You need shelter to protect yourself from the elements. And then you need a destination that you go one foot after the other. But you need to know where that destination is. And sometimes we get distracted. Sometimes there's a hole in the road. Sometimes we have to build a bridge to get to our destination. And in this case, my automobile accident was like coming to a cliff with no bridge, and I had to build that bridge. And then I went back to the other checklists. So we have a lot of other checklists running in life. We develop them through discipline and necessity. What must be accomplished, and what would you like to accomplish? The must things have to be accomplished before you can do what you like. Anyways, this is just a small video. It's kind of happy. I even poured myself a glass of wine tonight to celebrate. I was so happy yesterday that I didn't do any work. And I'm happy today, so I'm having my glass of wine. And one thing about checklists, one thing about life, you do have to celebrate, you do have to rest, and appreciate the fact that you were given the strength and the perseverance to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. And that happened. So, good night. We'll talk tomorrow. And there'll be a new checklist for new items that I have to finish. Like anything, a project gets completed and another project starts. Like flying, you land at a destination, a city, you take the people off, and an hour later you're taking off again and you have a new flight plan. Sure, you might be using the old airplane, but an airplane never operates the same. Things can go wrong. So you have to stop. If you have a problem, you fix it. Then you can take off again. And you need the airplane to be as whole as possible. Likewise, you need to be as whole as possible to complete your tasks on the ground. And remember, if you move too fast, you miss items. It's the base and it's the destination. But you have to have the base before you can know where you're going. Because without a good base, you're not prepared. Luckily, 9 years ago, I left a good base. I had to buy nothing. The people that I had come over to help me were amazed that I could actually put it together. And that's it. So, I wish you well tomorrow. Remember, when you wake up, have that checklist, and eventually you'll execute it without thinking about it. And so that the new ideas you can put foremost, and the ones that you were struggling with become habit. Good night.